welcome IT Channel to Channel Chat Live 2025. We are here. So hopefully you've had a chance to grab a glass of champagne or a drink or sample some of the fabulous food that has been on offer. You'll know people in the room, obviously, and as you can see by the trailer, it doesn't always go to plan. In fact, I will make sure this is a bit further forward. It doesn't always go to plan. But to give you a bit of background about the podcast, we started it in July 2019. We had it in our Gerrards Cross office, and since then, as it said on the screen, we've done 232 individual podcasts. Many of you actually have been in the podcast that have been in the room yourselves as well. So since then as well, we've done these events since 2002. We did our first event in Soho, in a pub in Soho called The Phoenix, circa 100 people. And since then, it's grown and evolved into what it is today. We found this venue last year. Laura Ferguson actually suggested it. We've absolutely loved it. We've made it our home for tonight. And also, we booked another venue and an event in September on the 11th because we want to come here back again. But I want to give you a bit of a background about why we do this. Yes, we're recruiters. We're a recruitment company for the channel. But we believe that the channel needs a platform to share best practices, learnings, successes, failures, stories, etc. And I know there's lots of competition in the room. I know many of you are competitors, but this is a place that we can have shared learnings and in a non-competitive way, helpfully grow the channel. One of the things that I want to say tonight as well, the after party is going to be at Drake & Morgan. The cameras will be off then, so hopefully the conversations will continue. But make sure amongst you, you're speaking to these partners and MSPs. Loads of different partners, MSPs, distributors in the room. So a great opportunity for us to grow the channel. So tonight's event will be a half an hour, 10 questions in the first half for the panel. We'll then have a break, grab a glass of champagne, go to a toilet break if you need to. Come back. The second half will be 10 questions again. Then we will finish. The best part of it will be some questions from the audience. That's the best bit because it's unscripted and the panel are already there and they can't blame me if it's difficult questions, which will be great. So please ask some questions at the end. Once we've done that, as I said, we'll go to Drake & Morgan. Last year it was the Lekerman, but we're going to Drake & Morgan afterwards. Like I said, we'll continue the conversation with the cameras off. I have got a few thank yous to do this evening. First of all, our sponsors. In fact, I'll actually get Paul Holden up from Cool Tower first, who's our after-party sponsor. You can introduce yourself, Paul. You can borrow my mic.
Sorry, I was speaking to yours.
Oh, mine's stuck on. So
that's right. I was whispering.
You can do it.
I can whisper in your ear, right?
Exactly, yeah.
Again. So we're sponsoring the after drinks. Lovely to see you all. I'm Paul Holden from Cool Tower. Probably most of you look puzzled, never heard of Cool Tower. We are a global voice platform, natively connecting into Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx and Zoom. We're working with a number of MSPs that don't do voice in the referral model with one of our TSD partners, Avant, where we're helping the channel make money out of voice, where you're already owning and helping customers on the desktop around Microsoft and some of those other technologies. So we'd love to chat to any channel partners, managed service providers later for drinks.
Thank you. And our main, actually, Lewis, if you've got a mic, which has been great, perfect. Our main sponsor, Infinigate, Lewis, if you want to come on stage.
Evening, everyone. Hi, for those who don't know me, my name is Lewis Dick. I'm the Alliances Director at Infinigate, and you've probably noticed over the last year that in the background of the Channel Chat podcast, the Infinigate logo has been plastered here, there, and everywhere, which, is a partnership that we, if we think back, right, Infinigate as a value-add distributor, or as the industry terms it, we have a unique, broad viewpoint on the channel, and equally, Channel Chat has, as much of, if not an even broader view, whether it's from a human capital perspective or even a cultural perspective. So, yes, you've got your bodies out there, such as Canalys and Gartner, that can help give data and facts to back up however our industry is going to market or how you guys are looking to build a strategy. But ultimately, by partnering with media organisation, a recruitment organisation, a distributor, you're going to get some real feet on the street, boots on the ground intel on how the intricacies of your local market is going to operate. So naturally, it made sense, and it's been a brilliant partnership. And look, you know, events like today aren't possible without the sponsorship of vendors, as we all know. And we have a handful of our key global partners here today. So we have SonicWall, we have Extreme Networks, we have Ivante, and we have Ubico. So today is absolutely not about selling to anybody. It's about having some fun, consuming some good content, asking some difficult questions. But as it is a networking event, I would truly implore as many of you as possible to just spend some time to introduce yourself, not only to me, our business, but to the vendors that have helped make this possible. So with that, have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Two more thank yous before we actually start the show. You, the audience, many of you have been on the podcast yourself. As I said, I moved the podcast to London this year. We get someone in the studio every single week. It is a platform just to share best practices and learnings. If we don't have people participate, the podcast won't work, we won't have this fantastic community, and we won't have these fabulous events to share best practices and learnings. As I said, it's a podcast for you, the channel, so thank you for turning up. Tomorrow, I would love you to put your own post up about the show if you enjoy it, and if it's been a fabulous event. Share, like, repost, etc. The bigger we build this community, the more exposure we get, and the more events we can do like this, which should be a fun night. And my last thank you is to the panel. They've given up their time. They don't really know what's going to happen. They don't really know what questions are going to happen. So I'd like to introduce them, but thank you for spending your time and actually participating. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Hayley Mooney, the CCO of Bytes.
How am I sitting?
Take a seat.
Thank you.
And next, Paula, Panarra, the GM of Avanade.
Thank you.
The third panellist, I'm not sure where he is, Des Lekerman, the former CEO of Coacho, in the studio. You had a seat. What were you doing?
You don't pay me enough.
And my last but not least panellist, Chelsea Chamberlin, the CTO of Rock Technologies. You had a seat as well,
I
Chelsea.
know,
What are you doing? Come on. You had a seat here in the hot seat. Okay.
I didn't get the payment. Is it coming through?
We'll see how you get on. We'll see how you get on. Right, let's kick it off. Make sure I don't fall off. That's the main thing with this. So let's kick things off. With the recent global tensions, market instability, how have your customers been approaching cybersecurity, AI, or investments more broadly currently? Let's go to Hayley first. Kick it off, Hayley.
With far more due diligence than they've ever taken in their lives, I think. So we are seeing much longer sales cycles. Obviously, the impact that the tax is making to everybody is ensuring that they're taking longer to make their decisions, using their money very wisely. So that's certainly having an impact for us.
What about you, Chelsea? What are you seeing?
I think we're seeing a kind of a much broader spectrum from customers, especially in public sector. They are much more careful about where they're putting their investment. They want to see much greater returns at a much quicker rate. And the risk as well of transition in terms of moving from one vendor to another, moving from one service provider to another, is something that they're taking much more seriously. So I think in positive news, renewals, extensions, looking at longer term support is something that we're seeing probably as a positive. But in the negative, I think the opportunities for growth via new customer acquisitions, especially in the public sector, is probably lessening.
What about you, Des? What's people spending their cybersecurity AI investment on?
So they're looking at consolidating what they've got. So lots of mid to large enterprises have bought many different types of security products, and they want to reduce that and consolidate it to make it easier to manage. Also, with the ever-evolving AI, the threat is becoming bigger and bigger with automated spam, phishing attacks, automated identity theft. It's becoming very complicated, and it's not as straightforward as it used to be.
Paula, what are you saying?
Well, I would echo what we said, delaying decisions and definitely a lot more due diligence, especially on return of the investments. So I think on our side, we need to be ready to support the clients on those business cases, especially on why investing now, because in some cases, it's really a lost opportunity, delaying it. So I think for us and for our teams, we also need to learn how to have those conversations. But on a positive note, I would say that we are also seeing some clients taking the opportunity to invest now to really be ahead of the curve and gain that competitive advantage. One example in AI is moving from the case by case and taking some bold approaches and say, I need efficiencies now, so I need to do this at scale. So I think we are seeing adjustments in the client.
And now we're in Q2. What is the sentiment in the market? There's lots of partners here. There's lots of MSPs in the room. Are you feeling optimistic about growth for resellers and MSPs? I'll come to you, Des. Are you optimistic?
So I think Q3 and Q4 were slow. A lot of decisions were delayed, and customers were very cautious. They've all come in Q1. They're coming in Q1. We closed more business in Q1 than we did in Q4. So it's not losing the deals; it's delay. Customers definitely need to spend on cybersecurity, and it's an ever-evolving landscape with AI, and the threats becoming more and more prominent.
What about you, Chelsea? Are you optimistic for Rock? Are you going to have a good Q2?
I think we're feeling really optimistic. We've actually seen certainly top-line growth from services, and I think that's the big shift, is really focusing on the return you can give customers as a services provider, looking at that integration element between multiple different technologies, looking at additional functionality, how you can enhance the kind of capabilities from a cyber perspective, from an AI perspective with what they've already got. I think data will be a massive focus as we move into the second half of the year. It will certainly be a focus for us, and I think that's the kind of next step. Once we've got those fundamentals right in terms of the platforms, in terms of the infrastructure, there'll be a really big focus on how customers can use data, and I think there's a huge opportunity there for services providers.
Paula, what about you? Is it a good time for Avanade? Is it a good opportunity in growth in 2025?
Yes, it's definitely a good opportunity. I would reinforce the consolidation part, that I think it's an opportunity for all of us. There is also a need for further efficiency that brings opportunities on consolidating future managed services, more outsourcing. So all those are today client behaviors. But I would say everything AI and cybersecurity related is definitely in the moment of scaling. At least that is our experience. So very focused on efficiency, avoid risk, and need to progress while creating savings for future investment. So yes, positive.
Hayley, positive, negative? Are we going to have growth this year for the channel?
Cautiously optimistic is where we are. We have been through a large segmentation internally, so we've moved all our accounts around, and that's going to have dramatic positive effects in the way that the people engage within the business and navigate through all of the resources and the partnerships and the vendors that we work with. But everybody's adjusting, and we're taking time to make sure that we do things right in terms of those transitions. So the pipeline is good. Security is looking strong. We have significant relationships with many vendors, and we work very closely. And I think where we see the most success is where we've got great alignment with those partnerships. So the channel becomes really important. Disty level vendor partnerships, that helps us deliver more successful outcomes to our customers.
You mentioned there about Bytes maybe moving around accounts or segmentation. Where are you seeing the biggest opportunity to win net new logo customers and boost revenue? So where are you going to get money from?
I mean, it's across the board, quite honestly. Our public sector business is really growing at the moment, and public sector are spending, right? They are, and it's making us kind of reshape how we're delivering services there at the moment. We work very closely with Microsoft. We're actually aligned with Avanade on some of those deliveries into the NHS, for an example. So we're pivoting and moving resources around because the demand is so strong there. And equally, mid-market for us is our bread and butter. So, you know, that kind of core sort of 800 to 2,000 is really acquisitive for us at the moment.
Des, what about you, a smaller partner? You know, where are you going to see the biggest opportunity where net new logo customers boost your revenue this year? Where's it happening?
Well, as you know, Mark, we're very focused on cybersecurity and identity. That's our expertise. I think the market is very disruptive. I think macroeconomics aren't looking great. The political landscape isn't looking great. The tax regime in this country isn't looking great. However, that gives massive opportunity because disruption will create opportunity. We talked about AI constantly during this first part of the panel, and AI is really, really moving at a pace, and I think that is creating opportunities for organisations to spend money on security and managed services. You only have to look at the news and look at the big organisations like Marks and Spencer's were hacked, the payment systems were down, and you know, big organisations like that and mid-size need to. In fact, all companies need to invest in protecting their assets, which is the data and their customers.
What about you, Chelsea? Net new logo customers. How are you getting net new logo customers this year?
I mean, it's tough, right? Growth in your existing customer base should be where it is the simplest, where you're already trusted. I think for Rock, we're a SME managed service provider. We're not massive. We're 280 people, but we've got some fantastic customers, specifically in public sector. We've got some huge names and really great references who've been with us for a really, really long time. So part of what we're targeting is growth via those channel relationships, the channel partnerships in the defence industry. For instance, we're partnering with some of the defence prime contractors. We're navigating the market that way. We're doing similar within central government, and we've had huge successes with higher education. So we're really leveraging the partnerships that we've already got within the channel, as well as our referenceability, to really knock down those doors, because I think that's what customers want now. They want to be able to trust you. They want to see where you've innovated for their peers, and they want to get ahead of their own competition.
Paula, do your customers trust you? Are you winning net new logo customers?
Oh yes, we are winning net new customers, and we are targeting those net new customers. And I would say in two main areas. On one side, mid-market companies are probably still lagging behind in terms of what is digital transformation. So we are seeing the business coming even from very foundational type of work, cloud, hybrid cloud, data platform. So getting the fundamentals before they move to the second part of the revenue growth we see this year, which is all related with AI and cybersecurity. And in fact, AI and cybersecurity are really, really connected. AI is such a disruptive technology that is also bringing a lot more threats, and the two come combined from an investment perspective. So it's an opportunity to save, to reinvest, and security is a must-have to then be able to play AI at scale.
So once we've got the customer, the MSPs and the resellers in the room, they want to know how we're going to make money. So how are you driving gross margin? How are you actually getting money out of these partners, or these end users? So what's your best product line? What are you selling?
Adding value.
Right, okay.
What is it? I mean, what's your best product line? Adding value. It's providing something that's innovative, that's reliable, that's consistent, that will give our customers back time, reduce costs, and increase productivity. That's, at a high level, that's what it is, right? You've got to be innovative, thinking out of the box. Like you, Mark. Channel chat.
Chelsea, as a CTO,
Yeah.
where do you see your company making money? Where's the margin coming from?
I mean, for us, it's all about, I'm going to use buzzword bingo, so if anyone's got their cards out. Rock have always been about land and expand, right? So you get in the door where we've typically been really, really strong in delivering, solid, complex network infrastructure in highly secure environments. Now what we've done is we've leveraged that referenceability, we've leveraged the fact that we already work in those environments, we already hold those clearances, and we launched our cyber services and our security operations center in December. We're already seeing really, really great results there. So it's all about building that trust, building that existing customer base, and then launching the newest product and the next piece of innovation that they will take from you if you've built that relationship.
Once you've got the customer, Paula, maybe they don't trust you, they've never used you, they don't know what you can do. How do you actually get margin from them straight away? How do you start actually earning money from them if they've never dealt with you before? Because we can all talk about we're trusted advisors, but if they don't trust you and they're not dealing with you, how can you actually get money from them?
Well, and in fact, we all know that acquiring a new customer is very often investment rather than earning money. So I tell to the team, it's really about what is the transformational journey that we believe we can do with this client. And while you do that first project where you are investing and earning that trust, it has to be on one side a perfect quality and great added value, so you create the opportunity to evolve the conversation towards a longer-term transformation. That's really the way to land and expand, but I think at this moment we absolutely have the opportunity to go and do it more than just in the managed service space, in the consulting space, given the stage of transformation that many clients are still in the UK.
What about you, Hayley? Where are you making money? What product lines are you making money? What services are you making money in?
We make a lot of money on everything. We do. No, we do. And it comes down to our people. We've been doing this a really long time, Mark. It's 43 years. I'm as old as Bites. And we have been doing this for a really long time. The team that are with me tonight have a combined tenure of 79 years. Okay, wow. So we have true experts in the business, and you talk about trusted advisors, but that's the relationships my team have with these customers, and they come to us for anything and everything, and they trust us to help them make the right decisions, and it works really well for us. And so we are generally seeing good margins across all the portfolio that we sell.
We're seeing a major uptake in enterprise AI adoption. Has anything surprised you from what you're seeing from customers and their reactions? Chelsea, what about you? What are you seeing?
I think the main thing that I'm finding slightly surprising is probably the kind of there was that initial adoption, immediate adoption. There was a real spike, and as with anything, we see the kind of the disillusionment pattern, the kind of the petering off, and now there's a real focus on, okay, well, how do I actually deploy this where it can make a tangible impact? I think people are bored of talking about AI. I think people are bored of blue sky thinking. I think they want to see, how can this tangibly impact my business? How is it actually going to deliver me results? How am I going to be able to tell my board that I have saved, I've either delivered genuine percentage points on the bottom line, or I've kind of impacted the well-being of, students or staff. So I think that's where we have to start really trying to move that messaging to. I think there's a lot of talk about new products all the time, but actually AI is embedded in a lot of the things our customers already have. So how are we going to use that? How are we going to leverage that capability?
Are you bored of talking about AI, Des? Is it something your customers are hearing?
How many people here in the audience use AI today?
Yeah.
Like almost everybody, because everybody's using AI. So it's just, if companies aren't using it, people are using it, and it becomes like shadow IT. So, and then that creates risks for organizations. So they have to do it properly.
What about you, Paula?
Well, definitely, as we were saying, the speed of AI adoption is just unbeatable. I think we saw something similar when the first cloud wave started, but now it's really the speed of adoption, the commoditization of this technology that makes it so easy for everyone to use is making it very easy to broader adoption in the clients. Now, it requires a lot of governance, a lot of data governance, compliance, and security to then really be able to be an AI enterprise ready and not a shadow IT that just brings additional problems. I think it's interesting for us. We have a few clients that took the very bold approach of saying, I'm not going to give Copilot to a few employees, test and see how it works. If I really want to take advantage, I will deploy it in the full organization, and I just spend my time, money, investment with my partners in creating the skill sets and the processes for people to adopt it at scale. And those are the ones that are taking faster advantage of these new technologies. So some of these bold thinking, I believe we will need to also challenge our clients. Why not? Because the return will be there.
We just had a show of hands there about people using AI. Des asked that question. There's probably people in the room potentially worried about how fast it's moving, and they're also potentially worried about will it replace their jobs. So how can we make sure it complements your teams rather than replaces them, Hayley? Unless you want to replace them, people.
Can I just say something, Mark? I think all this talk of AI is great, but business still comes down to people, relationships. Mm-hmm. What Hayley was saying, had a team for the team here tonight. I've got a combined 79 years, nearly as old as me. Yeah. And it's about relationships really, and it's still, yes, AI is going to help us, but it's about creating value and creating good relationships with people internally and customers, people in general.
I think, quite honestly, we've got so far to go. Our customers aren't ready. They really want to be, but they're not ready. Their data isn't in the right place. They're not prepared. They haven't got their accessibility sorted. They're looking to us for inspiration and stories. We're a customer zero with Microsoft, so we've gone full Copilot deployment across all of the sales org. I'll be completely honest, nobody is using it to the extent that I could replace them, and nor would I want to. I just want them to be more productive. So we're really just focused on getting the most out of that technology to make us better at our jobs. And I think our customers are desperately looking for guidance on how to do that, what those use cases are, and then equally how to actually bring that to life. We're delivering so many workshops. I wish we were doing more than workshops, quite honestly. But there are a handful of customers that are ready to do this, and I see so many lagging. Half of them aren't even in the cloud. Come on, I mean, we've got to be serious. We've got a whole road to go before we've exhausted this opportunity.
What about reshaping how we market? Actually, Lucy, when she came on the show, mentioned this to me about personalization, because I'm looking now about automation, AI trying to put marketing in. I'm getting chatbots calling me, and I actually got fooled the other day. A chatbot called me, and I started speaking to this robot, thinking it was a person. How can we rethink marketing? How can marketing people make an impact? Does it need to get a bit more personal? What do you think, Paula?
Well, I think as a consumer, we all expect now a much more personalized service, and it's not only from marketing, it's on customer service, it's on every interaction you have as a citizen or as a consumer with your insurance company, your bank, or your store. So really the opportunity from AI, and I fully agree, is not to replace the information worker job. Is really to, on one side, improve a lot the processes and the ability of creating those personalized experiences that will generate loyalty for your brand, a cross-sell for your brand, and ultimately a differentiator and a competitiveness in the market with the services you are providing. So yes, there is a lot of automation and back office productivity type of work we can do and help the clients to save, but it's very important to show what are the possibilities on increasing their top line, because that's really where the differentiation will come alive and the business impact will happen for our clients.
What about for you, Chelsea? You know, people out there thinking about marketing campaigns, little differentiation sometimes against MSPs and resellers, all these competitors in the market. How are you making a difference? How are marketing teams making a difference?
So, I mean, we are really lucky. We have an absolutely fantastic marketing director, but we're really heavily investing in interactive digital experiences. We've done a lot of investment over the last 6 months in our labs. We've worked with our partners, specifically in kind of the networking space, in the cloud space, and in cyber as well, around creating these fully end-to-end demonstrable troubleshooting lab environments, and we're leveraging those to create, you know, real digital experiences that are industry aligned. And I think that industry alignment is really important. I think you have to be looking at the outcomes and the targets that individual industries have, especially in the kind of economy that we're in now. They all have vastly different drivers and vastly different challenges. So we're really looking at that, and then the kind of outcome of that ultimately is those self-fulfilling business cases. You know, you can walk through what a new service could do for you, what new technology could do for you, what a digital transformation could do for you. That creates your business case, because ultimately customers are looking at that upfront investment as being something that they're going to struggle to afford over the next 12 to 24 months. On the flip side of that is, what is it going to cost them to do nothing? And often that is much more.
If end user customers are asking your company to do services you don't do, are you building partnerships with all these companies out here, or acquiring services, or embracing coopetition? Are you actually trying to get more added services if you're actually being asked from the end user? Des, if they ask you for something different, would you build a partnership? Would you go into coopetition? What would you do?
Try and sell them what we do. I think you could be jack of all trades and try and do everything. If it's appropriate, we'll bring a partner in. As long as Coach have got, you know, the core cyber identity work stream, we'll bring another partner in to do, if the customer wants, you know, one company to deal with. Yeah, of course we have partnerships. We have global partnerships. So absolutely, partnerships are good, as long as they're clearly defined and everybody's in their own swim lanes and the communication's fluid.
What would you say, Hayley, if a customer calls you up, you don't do a service they're offering, are you trying to acquire companies, embrace partnerships, coopetition? Do you use partners?
Yeah, I mean, we've been doing this for years. We've got an enormous partner ecosystem, and we bring in our delivery partners. Many of you are here, and we work together to deliver the outcome for the customer. So we've always been able to supply the software. We do have our own services division, but we don't do everything. I mean, we couldn't possibly have a service for every piece of software that we sell. So we have this enormous partner ecosystem, which is made up of partners like Cocho and distributors. You know, many of the MSPs in here who have professional service organizations as well, across security, AI, and we have strategic partnership agreements with them, mutual NDAs, and we trust each other to deliver the service.
Paula, do you embrace coopetition?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We also have a very broad ecosystem of partners that we work with. So Avanade works only with Microsoft technology, but we cover the end-to-end platform. And still, we very often need a vertical ISV to give the best ERP to a certain client. We absolutely partner and do it together. We want to serve end-to-end workplace managed service. We don't do devices or anything related with it. We partner with the ecosystem. And I think with the evolution we are seeing on AI, new models, data sets, and the importance of all of that towards the future best outcome to the client, we should, as a network, work more and more together on what's the best assembling to serve the best outcome to the client. We will continue to do that.
My last question before we have a break and get another drink. Loads of telco resellers now are trying to sell IT. MSPs are pushing out product. VARs are going service heavy. Are we now seeing the lines completely blurred? You know, can anyone actually claim they're a specialist anymore?
Yeah, I think they can. I mean, you know, customers aren't stupid. They want skilled, good referenceability. They want to know that you can actually deliver the piece of work. And if they're going to somebody who can do absolutely everything and is a jack of all trades, it's just not going to work out. I think it's important to remember that you know, our businesses are kind of focused on a specific area, and we need to kind of evolve that. But trying to do everything and be everything to everybody is going to be difficult. I think a VAR, a reseller moving into services, it's a different mindset. They need a different sales team, a different processes, service delivery mentality. We're selling solutions. It's not a SKU. It's a solution that we have to deliver and then manage afterwards, so we'll be held accountable for it, which is a different model to reselling a product. So I think it's different people to deliver that, if that makes sense. Yeah,
what about you, Chelsea? You know, telecoms resellers suddenly opening a security division, and then they're a security reseller suddenly. How are you sort of dealing with that and competing against those sort of people?
Well, as someone who opened a security division in December, no. So I think it's been a difficult. I think for the channel for the UK, it's been a difficult couple of years, and I think we've seen people try to redefine themselves to find new spaces and to grab hold of that, you know, that few percentages on the bottom line, that few pounds on the top line, and I think that's a completely natural reaction. I think things will start to probably settle down. A lot of our vendor partners, more global partners, are now seeing the UK as one of their really growing markets again, you know, often second against the US. So I think things will calm and people will find their natural places again. But I think it's just been a natural reaction to the economic climate, and I think there is more than enough business for this channel. It is the fastest growing channel. It has been for a really long time, and technology, you know, will never be as slow and boring as it is today, so ever again. So, you know, I think there is more than enough, and I think, you know, there is definitely power in partnerships where that's concerned.
What about you, Paula? Is it blurred lines? Are telecoms resellers trying to sell kit now and do everything?
Well, I agree. I think it is a natural reaction. Definitely is very different to do product and service, and you require different skill sets, different people, different ways of serving the client. But it's also true, we've just said so, we should be able to work together as the way to work through those boundaries, because there are some clients that want depth, and there are some clients that prefer consolidating and have breadth, and then you take care. So that means not necessarily you need to serve it all, but you need to have the right ecosystem of partners to do what's best for the client. And some of them at the moment prefer consolidation. And that is driving some of those behaviors. And if you think that on the other side, even some clients are becoming tech companies, the blur is even higher, which just create new business models for all of us. It's not only about sell to, it can create sell through as well, and go to market together. So I think we will see the models evolving, but it's very important to establish the partnerships and the right way of operating towards the client.
Hayley, you close this half of the show. What do you think? Suddenly, a reseller suddenly says they've got a services division or a security division, and they're trying to go after a business.
Well, coming from, you know, jack of all trades over here, yeah. So, so I mean, this has been the case for ages, right? We've been on a transformation journey for a really long time, as have all of the VARs. You know, the huge LSPs were told by Microsoft 5-6 years ago, you better build a service organisation. So everybody did. And to be honest, it's nothing new, right? And our security partnerships acquisition happened 15 years ago, and they were selling services then. So I think it's a bit of a myth to say that the VARs are not heavy on services, because it's a very big part of our business. I know it's a very big part of Softcat's business as well. So I think it's, I just think it's not a thing. There's an opportunity for all of us. There's plenty of market opportunity out there.
Great. That's the end of the first half. Please go grab a drink and be back in 15 minutes.